Seems as though there's a lot of division going on nowadays. Government's controlling us. What's your opinion on all that stuff going on?
That's kind of their master plan, right? They need everybody to be divided, everybody to be separated so that they can control us. That's the easiest way that they can control us. And they're controlling us in so many other ways, but that's like the main part, division, dividing people, right? There's the right wing, the left wing, like you said earlier. That's the way that they divide us. And, like food, school, music, social media, so many ways that they're controlling us and really just playing with our minds. They don't want us to unite. They don't want us to be together. It can even come down to the football team you like, bro. Like, they'll divide you in so many ways. If you like this team, okay, we don't like that team. I like sports, but I don't take it to that extent. Um, Everything is just a form to control us, to manipulate us, and to, honestly, like you said, divide us. What are your thoughts?
Roman times and stuff like that. They had like the Colosseum and they had, gladiators and people fight and everyone would go there for entertainment. I mean, that's, not that there's anything wrong with sports or and watching sports, but that is the modern day Coliseum. Everyone goes to the stadium to watch your team. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that, but just realizing that, this stuff is put here to keep us entertained and people are conditioned into their beliefs so strongly that, if anybody thinks anything slightly different, it's a huge issue, and the world sucks and your life sucks now because someone has a different opinion than you, and it's all this BS, right? Because your life is your life and their life is their life. You guys don't agree with each other, fine, live your different lives, right? There's no reason to spend all day or to fuel all these outlets of just arguing with people and this negative energy. It really benefits no one, because at the end of the day, all these people that are arguing so strongly to that degree are not in a place where their mind can be changed or they can even have a logical discussion. So it's just screaming back and forth and yelling at each other.
I love sports. I was born. My family just watched sports, right? But we kind of have to understand that, like, in this new day and age, the new currency is attention. The new currency is attention. They're going to try and find a way to take your attention, to distract you, to blind you from the things you actually have to do. The Patriots game is on, bro. Let's go watch it. Yo, the Celtics are playing, or Rihanna halftime show, or the Grammys. All these things to distract us, and we have to understand that the new currency is attention. That's how they're getting us right now. These devices that we're on right now, they're taking our attention. They're blinding us. They're moving our attention somewhere else so that we can't do the things that we want to do, so that we can't accomplish our goals and ambitions.
As human beings, we're conscious beings, and we have the conscious choice to do this or not do this, right? But because of all these social norms and these what we're told we're supposed to do and not supposed to do, it's like that really affects that, and all our attention is going in all these different ways that we never seem to have the time. Like, our excuse is always, oh, I don't have time. Of course you have time. Of course you have time. It's what are you doing with your time? Most of the people that say, "Oh, I don't have time to do this. I don't have to work time to work on a side hustle to do this," whatever it is, right? Well, you're scrolling for 4 hours a day. You watch sports and YouTube videos for 4 hours a day. It's like, imagine you took those, and it might be only 2 hours for some other person. They might really be busy with work or whatever their life is like, because everyone's different. But let's say you are spending something, doing something for 4 hours. It's like, what if you took that 4 hours to do something else, to research that side hustle that you want to use to make a little bit more money? If you just did research that for an hour or two a day, then in a little bit amount of time, you'll be starting it yourself and actually making money. Whereas you could just keep distracting yourself and then never make the money that you want. What if you just took an hour or 30 minutes to go exercise, right? And in 6 months, a year, 2 years, your body will have changed, your mind will have changed, and your life will be better. It really, our entire lives are made up of these incredibly small habits that we just can't motivate ourselves enough to do, because everyone's competing for our attention. And America is filled with filled with consumerism, for example. We always need the next thing. We need to buy these clothes. We need to buy this car. We need this and we need this, because if we don't have it, we are not good enough. And, my friend won't think I'm good enough, or this girl won't think I'm attractive if I don't have a Rolex. And all that at the end of the day is bullshit. But we're conditioned to a point where we believe it's truth. And we believe, oh yeah, I actually genuinely need to make this amount of money, or I need to do this or act this way, or else nobody will like me. And if you live your life and believe that, then that is going to be your reality, right? And nobody will genuinely like you, because nobody will actually know who you are, because like we were talking about before, you're putting on a mask 24/7. All these different things competing for our attention, and you need to have this nice thing to finally be happy or be content. All this stuff is an absolute never-ending cycle. We never get to sit down with ourselves and discover who we truly are, because we're scrolling 24/7. And scrolling in general doesn't have to be a bad thing. If you spend 5-10 minutes every day as an enjoyment thing to watch a few funny videos, there's nothing wrong with that. But it becomes a problem when you become addicted to it and you lose sight of your goals and your life.
These devices, we spend so much of our life on here. By the end of our life, we'll probably have spent hours, probably days, months, even years on this phone, the amount of time we've wasted on it. It's inevitable. Might as well use this as a tool. Might as well try and make money with this. Try and build a brand. Try and build an audience, a community. Social, like we were talking about earlier, like these phones, instead of you scrolling for 4 hours, why don't you go try and make videos for 4 hours? Why don't you try and build something on social media for 4 hours? Instead of being the consumer, start pumping out content. Start bringing out products. Start doing things on these devices, bro. You can make millions of dollars on these devices. But instead, we're just putting the white flag, like I was saying, and just consuming, not letting our brain actually fend for itself. And like you were saying, we can't sit down alone and just be still. We have to be stimulated, always have to be stimulated, have to be doing something, scrolling, something. We have to, or we don't feel comfortable. And social media has conditioned us to a way where, like, if you're not stimulated, your mind will go crazy. Like for me personally, like there's been days, because I do social media. It's inevitable. I'll be scrolling. I'll be on there for hours, and then when I get off, it's like, oh my goodness, bro. Like, like I gotta calm down. I gotta relax, because your brain consciously scrolls without you actually even scrolling. You swiping, your brain is already thinking, okay, let's swipe to the next video. Okay, let's swipe again. Let's swipe again. Let's swipe again. And then eventually you're doing that for hours. And it's happened to me, and I know it's happened to you guys as well. Guys, we need to take back our minds. We got to stop letting our minds be controlled. Like when I get older, I'm going to go and buy a bunch of land and go live off grid. Like when I get to that point, that's years from now. But I feel like you guys should really practice, like being alone, being by yourself, letting your mind roam. We don't do that anymore. It's either we're put into teenager daycare called school, or we're working our butt off, or college, or something. We don't have any time to actually sit back, relax, reflect. We only have that time when we're about to go to sleep. I feel like everybody, when you're about to go to sleep and you're laying down, that's the only time where you're not stimulated. You're actually letting your mind roam. And we have to stop that. We need to change that. Guys, like I said, the currency in this new day and age is attention. Let's take it back. Let's take back our minds and stop giving our attention to these big corporations, making them money, scrolling. We have to stop.
We never seem to find the time to do it, because we're either in school or we're working or we're doing this, right? We're conditioned to think we have to be busy 24/7. We have to do that stuff 24/7, or else we're behind, right? And I feel like everything in society is a psyop. Everything's a psychological operation, right? I was talking in the video the other day. Summer is a psyop. We're told, if you're still in school, summer, just relax, just go party, do this and that. And where I'm from in New Jersey, winters are cold and it's ugly outside, right? So summers are great. Of course, get outside, enjoy the sun, go to the beach, enjoy yourself, right? But also, since you actually have some free time now, use it to figure out what you want out of your life. Instead of partying 24/7, oh, school's finally out, and then going right back into the cycle after you've partied for a few months, and now you're back into the cycle of, oh, my life sucks. Can't believe I'm in school. I can't find the time to do anything else or really figure out what I want. You had the time. You were just told that you didn't have the time. You were told you had to do this, so you did it, right? I was, in terms of the phones. This morning, when I woke up, I was actually thinking, what is, like, phones are relatively new. What is the effect that they're going to have on our minds at an old age? Like, we already have seen the effects of our attention spans are going absolutely down the drain, and people can't maintain eye contact, and all this different stuff, right? Everyone has ADHD nowadays. When maybe you don't have a disorder that's causing you to not be able to pay attention to things. Maybe you know just the way society is structured. You know, everyone's competing for your attention, and you're scrolling so much that your attention span and your brain cells are literally being destroyed. So the question I was like asking myself is, like, if I keep spending all this time on my phone, if I live till I'm 80, for example, when I'm 80, it's like, what is my brain state going to be like? Like, is scrolling on these phones and just experiencing the blue light and all this stuff, like, does it really have, like, does it actually kill brain cells, for example? Like, I don't know.
I think everybody's heard this story, Adam and Eve, the serpent. They eat that apple, right? They fall into temptation. Look what we're using. It's a bitten apple. We fell into temptation. We're falling into temptation every single day. My goodness, we can't even fend for ourselves, our brains. And like you were saying, the effects is going to have on us decades from now. Like, I don't know if you know, but this emits, 5G, radiation. Having this near our pockets, this could be destroying our sperm cells. This is why the population is going down, and our sperm cells going down, our testosterone's going down. Like, there's so many effects of this, and there's probably even more that we don't even know. Just imagine, like, we've probably held this device hours of our lives, and think about the radiation, because there's radiation in the phones. Think about what that's going to do to us. Like, we don't know. We can't comprehend. Like, we could even imagine everybody loses their hand because of the radiation. We don't even know. And that's kind of scary. It really is. Guys, we gotta relax. We gotta stop falling into temptation. Stop being addicted to these phones.
These tiny little boxes are quite literally a separate reality. When you scroll on your phone, or just look on your phone, or text, or do anything on your phone, 99.9% of the time, your full attention is there. Anything that's happening next to you, around you have no comprehension of what's going on in reality. And so you're looking at this little screen. You could be there for hours, and then you look up and it's like, oh, wait, there's another world here? And so, I really do believe that so many of us spend so much time on our devices and our phones that we forget we have an actual life to live.
With the metaverse and all that stuff coming out, I think it's lately it's been kind of calming down, but they came out with that new Apple. I don't know what it is. I don't pay too much attention with that, but they're trying to take our attention, like we were saying earlier. Eventually, it's going to get to a point. Well, this is what I believe. Eventually, it's going to get to a point where the world's going to literally get destroyed, and we're going to be so addicted to this that we're not even going to care. Like, the world could literally collapse, and we will be addicted to this. We'll be on the VR. We'll be living in virtual reality. At some point, I think that's going to happen. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. But by the rate it's going right now, we're going to be living in virtual reality instead of living in this reality. They just want to control us. They just want to keep us distracted. It's going to be crazy.
So many of us have already checked out of reality. The fact that we do scroll for hours means that we think our life isn't interesting enough, or we don't have something to do, so we just do that instead, right? And people are addicted to video games, addicted to drugs, addicted to VR, right? I saw a video of someone in virtual reality sitting in what would be their room, and in that virtual reality room, they had what it would look like to be an actual real life thing, and also a TV with, like, Mario playing on it. So this guy is in VR, out of reality, playing a video game in there. And when I first saw that, I was like, "Oh, that looks cool, right? That like I've never seen something like this." But then 5 seconds later, I'm like, "Wait a minute, this is the end. This is the end of reality. Why would you need to play Mario in VR in another TV when you could just in reality put on your TV? It's just there's so many things that are being invented and things that are happening now. It shouldn't even it shouldn't exist. It's quite simply should not exist.
Literally playing like this life. Okay, look around. Like this is literally a video game. If you kind of think about it, you dictate everything that goes on in your life. Why are you gonna play video games inside of a video game? It's like, because honestly, this kind of is. I mean, we don't know what this life is. We don't know if it's a simulation or we honestly will never know what this life is until we pass. We got to stop living playing video games inside of a video game and getting so worked up over that video game. And oh, I need to hit this level. I need to go buy this car in GTA. I need to do these things. Like I need to. No, you need to go accomplish your goals and ambitions. You need to better your life. You need to change as a person. I feel like this life, it's so scary. Just talking about it. It's just like control, control, attention, attention. That's all we're giving out. We need to take back our minds and really lock in on what we want to do in this life. Because, man, time is flying, bro. Like, I'm already 18. Like, imagine decades from now. I don't want to let time fly and just look back and be like, damn, I didn't actually take advantage of the time. I didn't take advantage of my youth. Like right now is our most valuable time because we have all this energy, we have all this strength. Like we're in our prime, honestly, and we're not taking advantage of that. We're making the big companies money. We're going on VR. We're going and playing video games. We're honestly making the rich richer in so many different ways, and I feel like that needs to stop.
Yeah. And video games offer a much quicker way to feel like you're doing something, right? In life, there's delayed gratification. It takes so much faster to make $1 million in Grand Theft Auto than it is to in your actual life. Right? It makes you feel like you're doing something, but deep down, of course, you're not. The second you get off the video game, you go back to your miserable life, and you're like, damn, there's nothing going on here. I'm not doing anything for myself. So let me just hop back on the game and make myself feel like I'm doing something. And I think most of the time, what I just said, it's not even like a conscious thing. It's just like you're just living your life, and you're like, oh, I enjoy video games. It's like, yeah, you enjoy feeling like you're doing something with your life because it's harder to do it in reality. So it's like your brain is just like, let's just play video games because it's so much easier. You're making $1 million in your video game, but you're not spending any of it to go on vacation and look at all these beautiful places that are on this earth, right? And so, I mean, a huge reason as to why I want to make a decent amount of money is so I can travel before I die. I want to see this world. I want to see all the different cultures. I want to see what life truly has to offer because I truly, truly believe, and maybe this is controversial, but I truly believe that, staying in the same place for your entire life, working a job, going into an office or a restaurant, I really don't think for your entire life, waking up, working, maybe watching TV, going to sleep, maybe starting a family, retiring, die. I really don't think that's life. Maybe going back, maybe going on vacation, maybe once a year, maybe if anything, right? It's like, that's you waking up and going to your office every day. That is not life. Life is so much life is not what we've been told at all. Life is so much bigger. It's so much bigger than us, but it's so much bigger than what we are. You go to school, the same school, or maybe three different schools within 10 minutes of each other for 18 years of your life. And then you go on and maybe you go to college out of state and go there for a few years. Then you go back to your hometown or go just live somewhere new in a different state, work your same job and go to the same place every day. Guys, this is not life. This is not life.
Exactly. Like something I'm from Boston. I moved out of my hometown. That changed my life completely. When I was in my hometown, I'm not gonna lie, I was in lustful activities, doing drugs. I wasn't the person I wanted to be. I was distracted. You know, I was distracted by my friend group, by my circle, and by the people around me. And that's why who's around you matters the most. But like you were saying, if you don't travel the world, if you don't get outside your hometown, like I feel like that's number one step for everyone. If you don't get outside your hometown, you're not going to grow. You're not going to change. You might a little bit, but not as much as you would as if you literally just got your feet wet. You went somewhere else and did something different, started somewhere new. And you know, I moved to North Carolina, and it's been 2 years. I've changed completely. You know, anybody can make a 360. It just depends where you're at and if you're willing to try something new and honestly leave your past life behind. You know, like my best friends, my family, I left all that behind, and I'm living my life and I'm accomplishing the things I want to accomplishing and chasing my dreams and my ambitions. And that started with getting outside your hometown. Like you said, exploring the world, exploring what the world has in store for us. This life is so beautiful. This world is so beautiful. Yeah, there's some bad parts and some negative aspects of this world, but we don't have any jurisdiction over that, and we can't really do anything about that. But just live with what we have, enjoy the moments we have, enjoy the people we have, enjoy every single thing that we have in our life at this very moment. You know, because this very moment's the only thing that's real. The past isn't real. The future isn't real. The only thing that is real is this moment. So we got to take advantage of it, do something new, do things we love, and experience memories that we'll remember for the rest of our life.
I'm here right now, and this moment that I'm in right now, the people I'm spending my time with, the work that I'm doing, what I'm doing for hobbies, etc., etc. This is only temporary. Literally everything in life is temporary. In this exact moment that we are in right now, me and you having this conversation, sure we can have a conversation again in the future, but this exact moment will never happen ever again. And so that's a scary thought to a lot of people. But at the same time, I think it can be very liberating in the sense of, if you really consciously accept and acknowledge that you're in this moment and this is the only time you're experiencing it, that can truly make it so much more valuable and so much more enjoyable. What do you think about porn? I think it's such a it's such a huge industry, of course, and if you look a little bit deeper into actors and the actresses' actual experiences and the business side of it, you'll see that a lot of it is pretty ugly and people are not treated in a respectful manner. Watching all this stuff, and this, and of course, it's not reality. It's like you can watch all these videos all you want, but then when you actually have an experience with a real life person, you know, you might be in the act and you're like, all right, well, this isn't as stimulating as I thought it would be, or all I thought it would be this way, or they would act this way, and it's like, well, they were actors after all.
These people that you're watching doing it, you're never going to meet them in your whole life. You're never going to talk to them face to face. You're never going to actually get to know that person. You're beating the chicken to actors, to people who literally are doing this to pay their bills. You know, some of these people are even forced to do it, like it's sad, that industry, and that we are addicted to it, and it's like taking our soul away, watching that, and then the regret after. It's destroying our minds. That's another way, like we were talking about, another way that they're controlling us, another way that they're dividing us and taking over our mind. And look into the studies. Watching the hub, watching that stuff literally destroys your brain cells, and it has detrimental damage on your brain and on your mental health. And that is another why people are constantly depressed and have anxiety and can't live a happy normal life. And it's because you're watching other people do it, people that you will never know, people that you will never meet. And it's sad because it's free. It's literally free, and it's free for a reason. If anything's free, it's not going to be good for you. Let's be realistic. It's got to have a catch. And in this case, it's free because it's taking your soul. It's literally taking the life out of you. Every single time you bust that nut, it's taking your soul. It's taking your life away. And it's sad. We literally have to stop. And I think every male has struggled with that in their life. Don't judge yourself over it. Stop and just move on, because you're never going to be able to develop a relationship with a female or male, whatever gender you are. You're never going to be able to actually develop a real connection with somebody because you think, okay, I watched this video. This is how it usually goes. So it's gonna be exactly like this, right? And then you go and do it, and it's not, because I feel like sex, they've made it a way. Sex is all about love. Sex is about getting to know that person and creating a soul bond. I believe in soul ties. I feel like if you're doing it with somebody, if you're having intercourse, you're creating a soul bond. Intercourse is very special. Intercourse is something sacred, I believe. And we normalize the hub. We normalize busting nuts, hookup culture, and just hitting it and dipping it. And that's another thing that's really wrong with this world, and we need to stop. Guys, if you're struggling with addiction, with porn addiction, I'm telling you, things will get better, but it starts with you taking action and to stop completely watching it. Stop watching the thirst traps on TikTok, on Instagram, of these girls half naked, showing their ass, showing all this stuff to make you have lustful thoughts. You need to stop completely, because that leads to one thing to another. You know, you just watching those videos of those girls shaking their ass. Next thing you know, you're on the browser looking up Pornhub. So, guys, you literally need to be careful what you're watching. What you consume consumes you. Okay, guys?
All the girls that you're looking at on Instagram, most of their photos are Photoshop. You know, they made their nose a little bit smaller. They made that curve a little nicer to please the visual aspect of your brain, right? It's a biological thing. I'm not saying these people might not be attractive people at all, right? But I think a lot of the times somebody you could look at a certain girl on Instagram, but if you did come across her in reality, you'd be like, wait, is this the same person, right? So it's that's just another aspect of it's not reality, right? And I looked at a few studies, and they took brain stimulation centers of a porn addict and a cocaine addict, and it every single center lit up the same, and the brains looked so similarly. So I mean, essentially, porn is a super stimulus, right? Because sex is it's what creates life, and it's what drives human beings to do what they do most of the time. And so this is just such a biological principle of just being a human being, and that's through all these different industries and stuff. You're being taken advantage of. Your the biological aspects of yourself being overstimulated, and getting addicted to these things. And so you are essentially doing drugs when you look at these images and look at people doing these acts. See, people like I'm watching people do it, but I would never take drugs. Drugs are horrible. You are taking drugs, right? You're taking the most primal drug possible, watching other people do it. And I think, and there's so many people that say, it's like, even like all the richest kings, a couple hundred years ago, would never see, can't see as many girls as you can in scrolling for 1 minute, right? So much overstimulation. It's just absolutely melting your mind. Um, and then it also leads to having a misconception of what reality is, and also I think driving a lot of men and women both, but I think so much for males, of getting to the point where they're so addicted that not only do they not have the confidence to try and pursue a relationship in real life, but they don't even have the desire to talk to a real girl in real life anymore, because it's like, well, talk to a girl in real life, well, I could just go on my phone and do this, right? And so it's divorce rates are in America is 50%. 50% of people that get married are divorcing. That's insane. Every single year, the amount of men having sex is going down, down, and down. The amount of children that are being had is going down and down. There's obviously a problem. And the hub might not be the only thing that's causing this, but it is definitely a massive factor. And you have to realize that if you, as a man or as a woman, don't stop, speaking on the men aspect, if you don't stop being addicted to this, you will most likely become a part of that 50%. Your testosterone will go down. You will not have sex in real life. All these different aspects of life, you're not going to be able to experience a healthy relationship because of your addictions. And I think really letting that sit in and sink within your mind maybe will give you the motivation to try and quit.
I feel like sex really warps your mind into falling in love with the idea of a person. You know, I've fallen in love with an idea of a person before, but I feel like porn specifically, you fall in love with it and like you need it. Like that's why some of these people are paying top dollar for these women's OnlyFans, because they think, okay, this girl really likes me, right? And it's sad because it's literally destroying people's lives, and it's taking so much money out of people's pockets because it's brainwash. It's destroying our minds, like you were saying. And honestly, that might be one of the biggest downfalls for humanity is porn and the instant gratification that we get and the rush and all the dopamine, all of it. It's scary, like you were saying. And guys, it needs to stop. Seriously, if you are struggling with that addiction, you have to stop because it's going to ruin your life and it's going to make you go into a different path in life. And we don't want that to happen to you guys.
Right. Yeah, reach out to me, reach out to Justin. I'm sure we'd be happy to answer any of your questions. Go watch other YouTube videos. Go on Google and type "how do I quit." Just look into it to, figure out different ways and different avenues that you can go down to try and quit. Because of course it can be a difficult and time-consuming thing to quit. I mean, there's certain, there's different practices of, stimulating yourself less to things to then, get to a point where it's like, all right, if you're solo, then you get to a point where you just can't stop it. But, some people are able to just quit it, cold turkey like that. I know that happened to me at a point, but, everyone's different. But I mean, 2 years ago or something, or actually more than that at this point, but I really got to a point where I was sick and tired of feeling sick and tired. And I was like, this is draining my energy. I don't feel good doing this. And I was watching these YouTube videos of, oh, this is, what life could be like, and, how you'll feel better and your testosterone will go up, et cetera, if you stop doing it. And I stopped doing it and was really addicted. It did change my life. It really did. And I think for some people are like, oh, like no fap doesn't do anything. Like if you only do it once in a blue moon, then yeah, maybe it won't do anything because you're not addicted, right? But if you're addicted, I feel like that probably comes with anything. You're addicted to anything. Eventually, when you stop, you see life for as it should be seen now. Now you can actually experience life without being addicted and relying on this thing. I mean, another thing that everyone's so addicted to is like vaping, for example. That is purely a social construct, and since all my friends are doing it, it's fine for me to do it when it has absolute like what aside from I never even tried it, but aside probably I guess giving you like a little when you take it in, just a little feeling of like, oh, I'm relieved, my anxiety is now gone for a few seconds. Aside from that, it does nothing but harm your body. And for things like such as weed and stuff, I haven't done enough research on like marijuana to construct, oh, are there good things about it, is it all bad, etc. But from what I've seen from things like vaping, there's no positive to it. But since everyone else is doing it and it's a social thing, it's fine. Same thing with alcohol. I met people that are like, all right, well, alcohol is good, but weed isn't, or weed is really good and alcohol is. It's like it's you're both addicted. You're both consuming this thing that isn't good to do all the time, right? Someone who's a chronic drinker will be like, I can never smoke a joint. I'm not attracted to a person who does that. Look at how could you be addicted to drinking and find it unattractive if somebody smokes weed? It makes zero sense because you are probably. I mean, I haven't done all the research, but from my knowledge right now, I might even say that being a chronic drinker, not chronic, just drinking compared to smoking might even be worse. Weed is becoming legal in a lot more places now, but drinking has been legal for a very long time. And so drinking alcohol is like the vaping thing. It doesn't do anything good for you, but it's purely a social thing. It's socially acceptable to drink alcohol and get messed up. So we do it.
All these things have a thing in common is that if you do the research, when you drink, less blood flow is in your brain. When you vape, when you get that, so you've never vaped before. So if you don't know what it's like, if you vaped, you get like a little nick high, and it's like you get all woozy. And if you do the research, it's because you're losing blood flow in your brain. Same thing with smoking. You have less blood flow, less oxygen in your brain. And that's all these things have one thing in common, is that it's affecting your brain in some sort of way. Less blood flow, less oxygen, for you to make stupid decisions, for you to act unwillingly and do these things that you don't usually do when you're sober.
My buddy who I did a podcast with, Gabriel, we were talking about drinking and stuff like that, and he was saying how you know how we have like gut feelings, or like, oh, that's my intuition, that's what this helps, might help me in a a time that I need to, where it's like, all right, am I gonna make this decision or am I gonna go with my gut instinct? Drinking excessively destroys your gut. So he was making the argument that that intuition, when you drink, often, that intuition, it goes away. Like, you no longer have that gut feeling that might be the right decision. It's no longer there because your body cannot process that, and your liver and your body is quite literally being poisoned and being destroyed. But if it's socially acceptable, then we will trade our health and essentially our life for something that is socially acceptable. Smoking cigarettes. I know so many people who smoke cigarettes today. What is the point? What is the point of smoking a cigarette? You work your job just to pay for cigarettes all day, to smoke all day, and it's like you're literally just killing yourself slowly. That's quite literally all you're doing.
Gut is our second brain. That's why that gut intuition goes away. If you look into it, our gut is literally our second brain. What we consume is gonna make us feel the way we feel. Like if you're depressed, if you're sad, if you have anxiety, it's probably because of what you're eating and what you're consuming. And with drinking, you're like, that's the thing. You're drinking poison, right? And it's going all throughout your body, digesting it, and you're drinking every single day. Sometimes some people are drinking every single day. That's literally destroying every single organ that alcohol is touching, and it's poisoning you. And it's crazy the ways that they're literally poisoning us and slowly, little by little, killing us. And it's sad. It's very detrimental to our brain and our second brain too, our gut. We have to stop and be careful what we're consuming, because like I said before, it's going to consume us.
We essentially just have to take our life back and take our minds back and our control. Justin, I really appreciate you coming on today. I love this conversation.
Thank you, bro. Me too. Hey, hopefully we talk more. It's all love. God bless every single one of you guys.
Where can people check you out?
I got TikTok. I stream every single day on TikTok live from 10 p.m. I think Eastern Standard Time to like even 3 a.m. sometimes. That's my full-time job. It's TikTok. So you'll find me on TikTok, Justin J. McKinley on TikTok, and same thing on Instagram. I wish you guys the best of luck in this life. God bless you guys.
Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.